Okay, welcome back. This is Adventures with Dr. Joe. I had some issues with my audio when I was recording this, so I'm trying to basically relive it. This is an old Columbian 206 vise made in Cleveland, Ohio. It's ancient and super heavy duty. What I want to do is take out the jaws, completely clean it up, get rid of all the rust, repaint it, and really restore it to a condition better than new, I'm hoping. Now, when you look at the vise, it's super strong, super heavy duty, but it's got a lot of issues. Look at all this lash. It takes about 3 turns before it engages in each direction. So we're going to figure out what the problem is with that, and we're going to fix that too. So we're going to use a wheeled buffer. Wear these safety glasses and hearing protection for this. Absolutely don't hurt yourself. And we're going to try to identify how these jaws are placed on this buffer. We're going to see how these jaws are placed on this vise. And we're going to try to clean this all up and see if we can find evidence of screws, pins, or some other method of fixation. So I'm just going to grind it here basically with this wire wheel and see if we can clean it up and identify how these vise jaws are secured to the vise itself. So it has these 3 areas of depression that may indicate a pin that's holding these jaws in place. So I'm going to clean those up and see if in reality there is a pin, and also look underneath here and see if there's evidence of a pin. Look definitely like they're a pin. So we're going to take a pin punch and see if we can tap those out. So we got some nice punches here, a ball-peen hammer. We'll try to select the one that has a similar diameter. We're going to try these pin punches. These are a little bit more stout. I can't believe it started to go in. I can feel it coming out the bottom. I'm amazed. Wow. I'm going to get a bigger hammer. Okay, big hammer, cold chisel, cold punch. Absolutely need safety glasses. Damn. There's the first pin. I'm so excited. I'm going to get these jaws out. All right, we'll try the second one. There it goes. Yes. Haha! So 2 are out. I actually got the 3rd one going. Unbelievable. This will be tougher to get the jaws out, but now the pins are out. So, check it out. I got all 6 pins out. 3 on this jaw, 3 on this jaw. My handy little, I've actually flared this out now and beat on this end pretty good with the largest ball peen hammer I have. So now let's take a look at this. This jaw is like a T. So this fits in like a T, so I need to somehow move it this way. And we can kind of see that here as well. So now we're going to work on trying to get those jaws out of here. Okay, we're going to try to get those jaws off. So we're heating this up with MAP gas, significantly hotter than propane. We're going to try to do basically this region, try to expand that, and I've got some ice cubes here I made to cool the jaws themselves. So the differential heating, cooling hopefully will do the trick. We're going to give it a shot. So check it out. I've been beating on this thing, and look, we've got it to move. I'm shocked. So we'll use the bigger hammer, the biggest one I have, 32 ounce. Okay, we got part of it out over here. I'm going to use the pin. I don't want to touch it, it's hot, really hot. You'd think that would just come out. And there's a little teeny gap there. Some more. Big punch, big hammer, we got it to move, look. Feel it go. It's hot. Don't touch it. Son of a gun. Woohoo. We're at the end and there it is. Check it out. One more to do. One more to go. Okay, we have heated this. We have heated this tremendously. And guess what? It's coming out too. So I'm going to try to, oh, look at that. Come on, baby. There it is. Woohoo! Got on. So, for safety, we strapped it, had it on a shop crane, brought it all the way out, and I put it on the table. Now we've got this on the table. This is cooled down so I can touch it. And inside here, let's take a look. From this side. Let's look over here. This is the captured nut that the screw goes into, and I'm gonna see if I can take it out of here. I don't know if I can. I'm gonna have to clean it up. Cleaned it all out, and let's zoom way in here. Looks like there's a pin here holding that captured nut in here, and I put a vice grip on it. And son of a gun, look at that, came out, and chances are that captured nut might, look at that. So here's the captured nut removed. I don't know where the pin, here's the pin. We're going to take these parts to the parts washer and get them all cleaned up. So it's cleaning up really well in the parts washer. Lots of debris has come off of it. 100 years of grease and dirt and nastiness. Now we're going to let it dry. We'll take it to the wire wheel, the wire brush. Okay, we flipped that jaw upside down. There's the retaining pin. It unscrewed easily. Now we're just going to pull the whole thing out. Look at this. All right.
This will seem to be coming out of this. So, look how nice that looks. I sprayed it with a little WD-40, but now that captured nut, it's in beautiful condition. The vise jaws have been cleaned up. We're getting ready to resurface these with our mill. And now, there was a bronze bushing at the very end here, like a thrust bushing. And you can see where the capture nut on the inside had a little pin to prevent it from moving. We're going to clean up the threads, clean up the handle, clean up the solid piece and the body, and keep going with our restoration. Okay, the ultrasonic cleaning is done. Look at those parts. They're so much cleaner and nicer. It works dramatically well. Heated, and I ran it actually for 5 minutes. So at this point it doesn't want to let go, so I'm going to release the 3 bolts that hold it to the welding table. So these are 15/16. See if I can get them to move a little bit. Oh. I think I put the impact hammer on them. All right, we'll see what happens. And that's air power. Okay, now we got them all loose. This one I just can't quite get out. Let's lift it up and see what happens. Aha! There's a big nut holding it in place. I'm going to lay it down on its side. Okay, we're doing some hand holding. So there's the giant nut holding that base in place, and then we'll look and find the bolts that hold it from, prevent it from rotating. So these were the ends of the bolts that I got out to this opening. You can see it's got some little raised areas here that'll grab into the base, prevent it from rotating. Next, we're going to try to take this giant nut off to separate the rotating base from the main part of the body. So it takes a 1 5/16, but I just put it on there and started to spin it. It's coming off like there's nothing to it. I'm shocked. It wasn't tight at all. All right, there it is. That will allow us to separate the base. All right, I've got the nut and washer off, so this should probably just come apart just like that. There it is. Wow. So we need to do some thorough cleaning of these, wire brushing, getting them ready for painting. So you can see a lot of these screws are really messed up, so I'm going to try to really re-tap these if I can. And I've got a large English tap and die set, and we'll find the correct thread pitch for these and re-thread them. So the correct thread pitch is 5/8 by 11, and so I've got the correct die in my holder. I'm going to start following those threads. There we go. Should be pretty easy until we hit the terrible spot, and then we'll have to start cutting. And I'm going to use some Tap Magic Pro Tap cutting fluid. This stuff is great. So there it is. And I can feel I'm cutting those threads already. And we are going to restore these bolts. This is a lot easier than cutting new threads, by the way. Basically just following and restoring. And they were at the bottom of the thread, so that was it. Let's see what it looks like. It should look pretty good. We got 3 of these to do. Take a close-up look. Thread looks tons better. We'll do that to the other 2 as well. Okay, so I put the trash can under it. I sprayed it with this Carb Engine Bright heavy-duty cleaner after I scraped it with a scraper. And now it's pretty clean, and we'll do the same thing with the base. Okay, we're taking the wire wheel to it. Eye protection, hearing protection. We'll clean it up. You can see it's cleaning up really nicely. Yeah, there's some surface rust and a little bit of very superficial pitting, but overall it's excellent. This vise is going to really restore very nicely. We'll continue to clean this all up, get rid of all the old paint, all the surface rust, protect it and prepare it for painting. So you can see how effective the wire wheel really is. Look at it bringing out that paint, rust, how nice that is. So I've got it completely brushed off, and I've sprayed a rust inhibitor to prevent flash rusting. We'll take that off before we paint it, but look at the condition of this is excellent. Yes, it's been beat on and sawed and chopped, but it's overall fantastic shape. So we'll take care and we'll do the other parts now. So I put the base on these metal supports over the trash can, and I've got some quick clean CRC as well as gunk. Take the brush to it and really clean it up. I'm doing this outside, obviously. Let all this just drain into the trash can. And it's coming clean. Then I might take it to the parts washer as well. So we'll give it a good brushing. Okay, we're going to take the wire brush to the screw. Kind of bogs it down a little bit. We're going to clean up the whole thing. Probably going to take the wire brush with the grinder to this. So hey, let's talk about the jaws. So the jaws have come off and we took them out. Remember, they had those retaining pins. These jaws are very smooth and have been really worn down. So we're gonna work on these, but there's enough material here that I think we can skim this and basically make this flat again and then recut all the grooves. So right over here in the middle on the Curt Vise, we have the first jaw set up with the cutter head. We're just going to take a nice skimming of this to make that flush, to make this nice and smooth. And then we've got a cutter that's we're going to turn this at 45 degrees or so and do the cuts on one direction, flip it over and do it on the other. So we're going to restore those teeth. So here we go. So we're going to take another pass after this. So this is hardened steel, so it's a little bit tough to cut. So we're taking very fine passes. Couple thousandths, how much are we doing here?
Probably a good 10,000.
Oh, that much? Okay. Oh, that's nice. Look how smooth that looks now. All right, so here's another pass. It was worn mostly on the outside edges, not in the center, which is interesting. That's pretty darn nice. Okay, so we're going to do one more pass to clean up that top edge, which has been beat up pretty badly. So here's that first jaw face. Look how nice that is. So we're certainly going to, again, skim the beat up top part a little bit, but that's going to accept really nice cuts for the new jaw face. Time for number 2. So we're going to measure the distance between each groove before we take our next cut. So these are 100 thousandths apart from each groove, and maybe about 20 thousandths deep. So here we go, resurfacing the edge, the top edge of the vise jaw. So we're going to skim the other surface, the bottom surface, just to make it nice. Need to take another pass because it's really beat up. So here's the final look of our jaws, face, one edge, and the other edge. Pretty nice. Now we're getting ready to cut the grooves in the face of these vise jaws.
So we added this steel blue to the vise jaw so we can see where the cuts are.
Okay, we're just trying to set it up so we can just touch off to the very edge of the plate. And then we're going to go 20 thousandths deep and every 100 thousandths spacing. And then, okay, first thing we're going to just touch off and then set our depth at 20 thousandths. All right, lock it at 20, and here's our first cut. So there's that first cut. Here's the second one. That bluing really sets it apart. You can really see it. Look at that, nice. All right, now for our third cut, we've reduced the depth a little bit just to give us a little bit wider flat. And here goes our fourth cut. Okay, now we're at 500 thousandths. So you can see we're making progress. We're at the 27th line, I think, because we're at 2700. 2.7 inches, going up 100 thousandths each time. So look at that. We've got all the first face all done. It looks beautiful. Again, 100,000 between each one of these grooves gives us a nice flat, and they're 20 thousandths deep. That should work great. Now we're going to flip it around and go 45 degrees to that. Okay, so now we've got all of these cuts made, and now we're going to come across at 45 degrees and cut these. All right, check this out. We've got the first face cut both directions. It's a thing of beauty. It looks terrific, fantastic. We're getting ready to do the other one right now. Okay, we've finished the cross cutting on both of the vise faces. Look how good that looks. So both these are ready to go. If you want to heat treat these, that'd be the next step. So we've got this propane heater, we've got the vise jaws that we're heating up slowly, and then this container has oil in it. We're heating it as well. And we're going to heat the bars up to the proper temperature and quench those in the oil. So we're checking the temperature. It's 456 degrees already. And you can see that the jaws have already been bluing. So it's heating up quickly. Boy, it's almost red hot now. So these jaws have now been refaced, skimmed on both sides, heated appropriately, oil quenched, and then we just washed them off in the parts washer. Now we're going to do some tempering. These are very hard now. They have a very hard surface, but it's probably a little bit brittle. So if we temper these, it'll reduce that hardness a little bit, but make these much more durable. So we're going to place this in the oven at 400 degrees for about 4 hours, and just let it cool off very, very slowly. Then our vise jaws will be done. So my wife's very nice in letting me do this. So we're just going to put those in. Let that baby heat up for about 4 hours. Okay, we've got the vise jaws completed. They look great. Now we're going to take the big pieces of the vise that have a protective coating to minimize rust, spray them with some carb cleaner, get that cleaned up. Any areas of residual rust, we're going to take it to the wire brush and clean it up. So we're going to get started with this right now. Now we're going to wipe it down. Hopefully get rid of any residual oils. This carb cleaner really cleans things up nicely. These pieces are incredibly heavy. So just to ensure there's no rust at all, I've totally reground, wire brushed the entire base of this, so it's really nice and shiny. Any possibility of residual rust, I've taken it down with the wire brush. Okay, I've shaken up and opened up the can of paint. Again, it's this hammered copper color. I'm going to start applying it. I think it's going to make the vise look really nice. And you got to put enough of this on so it basically takes on that hammered appearance. So it's got to be applied fairly thickly. Okay, now we'll just go over it again just to be sure we've got a nice, even, pretty thick coat. There we go. So you can see we've got the first coat of paint, the hammered paint. It looks really good. Here's that. We're going to let that dry and take a peek at it. So we've successfully put one coat of that hammered copper paint on here, but we've got some areas that didn't fully take, and I'm going to put a second layer on here. The base actually looks pretty good, but there are a few areas around here where it's just a little bit light. So if we add a second coating to this, I think it's going to really do a good job. I did get a little bit up on the wear surface, so I'll just scrape that off. This is the surface where the main body actually will rotate on it, so we're going to clean that up, and then we're going to oil it. So we're going to just give this a good stir. And go back and reapply. This second coat should actually go on even easier than the first because it has already a good base coat. Just don't want any drips, but you want it on fairly thick so it really assumes that nice hammered look. Okay, I've got the part of the vise turned over on its side, got it all cleaned up, and we're going to attach the swivel base, and then we'll be able to basically attach it, bolt it back down to the welding table. I'm spraying everything down with Corrosion X to hopefully reduce the chance of subsequent rusting, which I think is important. And we've got the base here. It's secured with this 1 5/16 inch nut, so it needs big ratchet, big socket. And then here's the disc that holds everything in place. I'm going to grease this up first, and then we're going to put this on, and then we'll put the two locking lugs in. These basically have to be put in from the inside through this opening, and then they come up through each one of these holes. So we'll do that in a second. So I've got my grease here. I'm going to be pretty liberal with the grease. Going to put it on the mating surfaces here, the machined surfaces. This is a general purpose grease. So we're going to heft this up. Fits like that. Oh, very nice. Put our disc in place, our retaining disc. Screw this in, and then these things go next. They go through here, and we'll line up the openings like we have here for those in a second. Okay, these locking pins have a curve. They only go one way. We've got it lined up with this hole, and it fits like that. Yeah. And then on the other side, we're going to put the washer and the nut. Spin this around if I can. It's really heavy. So here's the washer. There's the nut. And we'll do the other one. We'll spin this around. Well, once we loosen it, because it's engaged now. There it goes. Spin this around to the other side. Do that next. Again, the curve. There it goes. Put the washer and the nut on the other end. Then I think we can tighten this. And this still has good movement, except when you lock these down, it holds it in place. It's really nice. So you can see spinning around those two locking tabs and these locking little indentations here where that actually locks right in there. Bench now moved over, the vise right over onto the bench with the openings set up for the 3 bolts. These were in really bad shape, and I recut the threads both on the nuts and the bolts so they would thread on more easily. They were in bad shape. So once these 3 are in place, we're ready to put the jaw on. Okay, there, we got those 3 bolts put in. This one was a little tight, but now it's set. So at this point, we're going to put the locking jaw on. We're going to put the vise jaws on and finish the assembly. Okay, this is a big deal. So now we're going to put the jaws back in, and I've resurfaced the edges. This one was the top previously. You can see it's still got some Mars on it. So I'm going to put what was the bottom on the top, and I've got this copper hammer. And we're pretty well lined up. I can see the holes through here. It looks actually very good. And there we go. We'll just put those pins through here. So I'm putting a little bit of grease on these lock pins. I think there's a more narrow end here. There it is. And we'll just tap it down just a little bit. Okay, we got the second one in. I put my earphones on. This is incredibly loud. Now we'll work on the third one. So I took this pin to the grinder to kind of make a little bit smaller nose. Now we'll go to a big hammer. Okay, I got the other vise just started, barely. The other jaw. Wow, looks lined up as well. So I put some grease in each of the holes, trying to find the smallest end. And then we'll drive those in a little bit more to get those below the face, the surface. And I'll keep going here, but there you go. The next thing we're going to put in is this nut. This is the threaded machined part that holds the screw. This notch goes forward and it fits into a dovetailed groove. I've greased it up. It fits just like that. There's a hole here to accept a bent pin. So I have this pin. I'm going to clean it up a little bit with the wire wheel, and then we're going to put it, basically just put it back in that hole, and it holds it just like that. It prevents it from going this way, holds it from going backwards. Okay, now we're going to put the bar together. I've cleaned up this thrust plate that's going to fit right here, so that goes on first. And then once this goes in to here, this capture nut is basically secured to it. I'm going to get that. And then we need to line up that indentation, which is right here. Try to get this closer to the edge. And then we're going to tighten up that set screw. There it goes. So the final step today is to put it together. We're going to carefully move this to here and see if we can engage the nut, and we'll drive it home. I'm going to grease up that thread. I'm going to grease up the screw first, and then we're going to try to assemble it. Okay, here we go. This thing's heavy. Try to. This thing. Yeah. Set up in here. And hopefully we can get it to engage with that nut. Okay, I got it to engage. You believe it? It had to be lifted up. I pulled on the vise handle just like this and got it up, pushed it in, and look at that. Wow. Pretty smooth too. We'll tighten up these securing bolts a little bit so it doesn't wobble around so much. There it goes. So the vise is assembled. Looks pretty darn good. I took off that other pin because it was very, very proud here, and I've ground the end of a roll pin that should fit in here pretty well, and we're just going to put that all the way through there. Nice. Okay, so we're going to start the creation of these pipe jaws. This is the one that came with my welding table, and one fits in one side of the vise and two of these fit on the other side. So we've got some nice stock here that we've blued. We're going to scribe it and then mill it, and that's going to give us our 3 pipe jaws that's going to help us complete our vise restoration project. So we've got this all scribed, and we're going to put all these together, tack weld these 3 pieces, and then mill them all at the same time. So we've got it here all lined up, squared up, and we're going to tack it together. TIG weld. So those are the TIG welds we've got on both sides holding these 3 pieces together. So we're going to start machining it. Kind of take this heavy duty one just to get rid of most of the material first before we put the fine cutter in. Now a very fine cutter for the fine work. There are the 3 jaws all machined together. It looks great. I'm so pleased we've got the 3 pipe fittings here, the pipe jaws, and we're going to install those now in our vise. It takes 2 on this side, 1 on this side, and the set screws, or the grub screws that I replaced, all are 3/16. So I'm going to just loosen this one a little bit. Be sure there's no interference. And then we're going to put them in. So there's 1. There's 2. And there's 3. We just tighten up these set screws. And they should be good to go. That was the last part of our restoration here. Wow, there it is. Let's take a closer look. Those pipe jaws look fantastic. We're just going to close the vise and see how they come together. This is an amazing vise. And there we go, boom. Jaws are tight. The pipe jaws look great. And this is I think this is a wrap. So thank you very much for watching. This is the complete restoration of the Columbian vise, the number 206, made in Cleveland. It is incredible. I found one of the pipe jaws and we made 2 additional ones. They fit in there great. And basically it's a done deal. These O-rings that are nice to keep the handle from crashing and smashing were made with my 3D printer. We also used a little blue enamel paint here to highlight the casting, the numbers, the catalog number, the Columbian Vise Manufacturing Company in Cleveland, Ohio, USA. Fantastic. So again, thanks for watching. If you found this useful, please consider thumbs up. Adventures with Dr. Joe, consider subscribing. Thank you very much.